What in tarnation? I meant to do that.
Howdy folks, this is Apple Geek, and here we are with My Little Pony Season 9, Episode 19. I remain spoiler-free on any of these last remaining episodes thus far, so get to do yet another one completely blind. I have no idea what to expect, so no more need to talk. Let's go ahead and give this a watch. Episode 19, starting now.
Oh, Spike! Are you
Oh boy.
here? Hello?
Rarity and Spike.
Spike?
What is he
Oh,
doing?
there you are. I was starting to think you weren't here. I realize this is last minute, but I've decided on a quick trip to the gem cave. I am on an urgent mission to find some faceted iridescence for my new design. And I can't think of any pony I'd rather have along than my favorite basket holder slash bodyguard, Spike.
Are we gonna deal with this finally? Get that face!
Spike.
He's totally...
Spike.
What is he, writing a fanfic?
Spike! Oh, hey, Rarity.
What's with those ponies?
Honestly, Spike. It's almost as if you haven't been listening.
He hasn't.
Oh, of course I was.
What was that? Where did it go?
Just to be sure, could you say it all again?
I was saying that I had planned on visiting the gem cave.
Oh no! Is that the time?
Of course you're
Is
right.
that the power ponies in that
This is a bit of a
poster?
late start, and those gems won't pick themselves.
What?
But the real question is, which basket do you want to hold?
Neither.
The smaller one, right?
Oh, right. Sorry, Rarity. Can I take a rain check on... What was that again?
The gem cave?
Right. Sounds great. But I need to get to the post office before noon.
All right, very funny. Obviously, you get the bigger basket, and I...
Rarity! Yeah, and he's already gone. Thank you.
Hello.
Are we finally going to deal with this? I don't know where this is going, but something has captured Spike's interest far more than, like, he's completely ignoring a request from Rarity, which is practically unheard of. So I've been hearing from my friends, all of the newer episodes that have been airing here are great, so I don't know.
Understand. For as long as
This is
we
gonna be
know
interesting.
each other, Spike has never turned down an opportunity to join me here.
Yeah, see?
It's his favorite place.
More like you're his favorite pony.
Ideally, you catch the gems, dear. And for a trip to the post office, of all places.
Ooh.
Maybe you should move closer. And why would Spike need to go to the post office at all? He sends mail by breathing. Breathing, darling. Breath mail.
Oh! Applejack! Okay.
Honestly, Applejack, if you're going to fill in, you could make an attempt to hold the basket the way Spike would.
And how's that?
Well, for one thing, Spike knows how to keep things quiet so as not to waken the bats.
Ooh boy.
And he usually pulls me closely so no gem ever touches the ground.
That's not probably the only reason he
Spike's been following you closely since he got to Ponyville. And in case you hadn't noticed, I ain't Spike!
Actually, Applejack, I had noticed.
Whoa.
Hi, Rarity. What's up?
Whoa.
Besides my mane? Well, that is a question for Spike.
Oh, well, Spike isn't here. I think he's at the post office.
Yeah, about that. Oh, there's a couch! There's a couch!
Spike in the post office.
Mary, what's going on?
Get her some vanilla oat swirl.
Declined my invitation to the gem cave, and I intend to find out why.
That doesn't sound like Spike. Did you two have some sort of fight?
A fight? Goodness, Twilight, what in equestria would we fight about?
I've had arguments with friends before, and they can put a real strain on friendships.
Yes, she has.
Well, certainly. But I think I'd remember if we had an argument.
Maybe you didn't realize
really?
it. Do you think you could have done something that unintentionally hurt his
Are we gonna get some flashbacks?
What if I didn't realize what I did? How would I know what I have done when I did it? I wonder if that's it. It certainly would explain his behavior. I must apologize.
She's gonna overthink this entire thing.
Hardly the point. Poor Spikey Wikey. This goes for a grand gesture.
Oh no.
Okay, good talk.
Aww. Gabby! Gabby, yes, what in the heck?
That's a big crate of stuff you're mailing. I'm not mailing it. Then why are you pushing it into the post office?
I didn't think we'd get Gabby
I
again.
didn't realize Griffins worked at the Ponyville post office. Oh,
Yeah, what?
no, I don't work here exactly. I'm the official mail carrier of Griffinstone. Gabby Griffin. Nice to meet ya. These things aren't for sending. They're for apologizing to Spike.
Oh.
Spike was just here. He went to go make us a... That's perfect. It'll give me a chance to practice. You stand there and tell me if I hit the right apologetic notes. What are you apologizing for? Darling, I don't see why that matters.
It matters a little bit. I mean, wow. What?
And that is why I simply cannot bear the thought of having hurt you. I don't know what it is that I did. I want you to know that it doesn't matter. Because I am prepared to do anything to make it right. And scene.
That deserves an Emmy right there. That
Oh, sorry, dear.
she's really pulling out all the stops.
That sure sounds genuine. Well, of course it sounds genuine. It is genuine.
Rarity, what
Oh.
are you doing?
Hi, Spike.
Obviously, I'm working on my apology to you, Spike. I don't know how I could be more genuine. I mean, Spike! Oh, Spike, I am so sorry. Forgive me. You have to forgive me. I don't know what I did or why you are mad at
Wow,
me.
that was cat
Please
abuse.
say you forgive me. Please.
He's like, for what?
Of course I forgive you, but what are you apologizing for?
Why does every pony keep harping on that? Wait, don't you know?
No.
No.
I'm not mad at you about anything.
Nope.
But I don't understand. If you're not upset with me, why in Equestria would you refuse to go to the gem cave?
Because I had other plans?
Yeah, because the world does not revolve around you, Rarity. What?
I don't understand. You two know each other?
Gabby and I are sort of pen pals.
Yeah!
Oh, that was.
Thing where I
Oh.
pretended to get a cutie mark because Griffins don't get cutie marks. So Princess Twilight had Spike send a bunch of letters off to Griffinstone about the first Griffin ever to get a cutie mark, which I really didn't have.
Gabby wrote
Close
back
enough.
explaining things, and after that we just started writing back and forth.
Turns out we
Wow.
have a lot in common. We both come from cultures that don't have the friendliest of reputations.
Of course.
Both in the message sending business.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I sure wish I could send scrolls with my breath. Aha, yes. Now I understand why you didn't come to the gem cave. Having a friend in town
Somebody's
is a rare
jealous.
Look, since you're busy today, maybe we can do something tomorrow. Fabric shopping? I know how you love to pick out the colors.
Actually, now that there's a Griffin at Twilight School, Gabby's here all the time.
Grandpa Gruff asked for a
Oh.
lot of updates about how Gallus is doing.
Oh,
Speaking of which,
really?
I better get going.
And I'll fly with you.
Well, all right, you two fly along. I'm sure Spike and I can do something some other...
And they're gone. Huh.
time?
Oh. Oh.
I cannot decide which shade of purple is the most royal. And there's the pink. How will I ever choose?
Oh no! Oh no!
Spike's not here. I bet he can help you narrow it down.
He is a a good sounding board, isn't he?
You never know what you have until it's gone. It's finally happening. She's finally realizing just how much she has taken Spike for granted all these years. Passes the taste test, I guess. And now... yeah, not there. Oh. Hey guys, Silver Tribuna. Aww. Oh. This is adorable. This. Aww. Not so easy, is it? Okay! They are very close friends, it seems. Empty pillow. Pouty face.
Could you bring the pincushion a little closer, dear?
And who is it
I
now?
suppose now that Spike's always so busy with
Pinky?
Gabby,
Fluttershy?
I'm just now realizing how much his presence has meant to me over the years. Even closer, darling. I don't want to prick you. I have to admit, everything feels a bit less than without him.
Who is...
Cuckoos!
Fluttershy, okay.
Oh, darling, it's no use. Thank you for trying. I'm just accustomed to the help of a small, highly attentive dragon.
Maybe you should let Spike know how grateful you are for everything he's done for you.
Yes, let's do that. Oh no. Oh, the...
Oh, I am sorry, Spike. I didn't mean to frighten you.
Rarity, what are you doing here?
Well, I realize
Yeah.
it's late, or rather early, but I have a surprise, and I just couldn't wait to share it.
How early? What is it, like 1 a.m.?
Crevasse of the Crystal Mountains.
These faces. What is...
Whoa.
It is only accessible once a year, and I thought a little day trip would make a wonderful thank you for all the help you've given me over the years.
Oh, but I'm supposed to meet Gabby today for her
Had
rounds.
plans. Uh-huh.
I see. There's always next year.
You know what?
Kind of need to plan in advance there.
I'll just write her a note.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Okay. Doctor and Rose!
Wow. Rarity, you weren't kidding. The gem crevasse was amazing. I'll be snacking on these for a week.
What did I
Oh,
do?
that'll last the whole week? Wow.
Gabby!
Hey,
You
Gabby!
won't believe where I went today.
Actually, I think I will. I got your scroll. The Great Gem Crevasse sounds a lot better than doing my rounds.
Oh.
Whoa! It was definitely better. I gotta get back to Griffinstone, but you have to tell me all about the crevasse tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Man, she really is there all the time now.
Great day.
Aww.
Okay, start from the beginning, because I want to hear everything.
Well, to get to the crevasse, you have to climb across a rope bridge because the air's too thin to fly.
That is amazing. Then what? Whoa!
Ouch.
Sorry, Rarity.
Oh, no apology necessary, Spike. In fact, I was just looking for you.
You were? Why?
Okay.
Because I just
Now
acquired
what?
these.
What are...
Passes to Power Pony Palooza for today?
Convention!
I know we just went to the crevasse, but I feel I've barely scratched the surface of expressing my gratitude for all you do.
She's not wrong!
Of course I want to go, but that'll be 2 days in a row we haven't hung out.
Are you kidding? It's Power Pony Palooza. You have to go. And now you'll have 2 things to tell me about.
Okay, come on, Rarity, let's go.
How about you get 3 passes?
My claw's sore.
Indeed. I have no idea how much walking there is at a Power Pony convention.
Maniac cosplay!
You know, I told Gabby we'd hang out tomorrow.
Rarity is willingly wearing green. That never
I
happens.
know what you mean. Perhaps you could just send her another note.
Rarity.
I think maybe you're right.
Honestly, I might need to spend tomorrow putting my hooves up as well.
And again. Where is this gonna end
I
up?
hadn't counted on Power Pony Palooza being quite so draining, but I thought we might spend the day recuperating together.
No.
No way. Ogres and oubliettes?
Well, I know how much you enjoy
Really?
it, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity for you to teach me the game.
Spike, I got your note. I figured I'd come by before my rounds with a bowl of energizing turnip soup.
Turnip soup. Okay. Oh boy, and here's where things are gonna go
Use the
south.
shield of the coiffure to defend herself from the purveyor of poor color coordination.
She can try. Success! Schmerity's shield holds against the green-eyed monster's attack. And that Spike?
Uh-oh.
Oh, hi, Gabby. We were
Your
just...
scroll said you were too tired to do anything today. But I guess you were just too tired to do anything with me.
No, that's not true. I can come with you on your rounds right now.
I don't think so, Spike. Maybe I'll just handle the rounds on my own from now on.
Ooh! Princess Schmerity uses her prismatic beam to change that
Verdi!
color to a more pleasing shade of purple.
Sadly, it's going exactly the way I thought it was going
What do you
to.
think, Spike? Solids or prints?
Prince, I guess. You already have a lot of solid colors.
Oh, you're so right. Prints it is. So nice to have you back, Spike.
Yeah, so nice for you.
Although, I hope you're able to reconcile with Gabby.
Yeah, maybe if you didn't monopolize his
Pretty
time.
sure she doesn't want to.
Oh. Oh. Man, he looks terrible. So how long is it going to take for her to realize that he is completely and utterly miserable? And realize that it's her fault.
Enjoyed our day together, Spike.
Yeah.
Hi, Spike.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen Spike this sad before. Do you know what happened?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps he's still just tired from Power Pony Palooza.
I don't think that's it.
I suppose it's possible it could have something to do with Gabby not wanting to spend time with him anymore.
What? I thought the 2 of them were hanging out all the time.
They were! Honestly, it took everything I had to convince him to spend any time with me at all. But between Crystal Gem crevasses, Power Pony conventions, and a marathon game of O&O, I managed to get some time in.
It sounds like you made sure he didn't have any time to spend with Gabby at all.
What?
Bingo!
I certainly did not.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I suppose I may have monopolized him a teeny bit. I've just grown so used to having Spiky Wikey around. I wasn't prepared for how much I'd miss him when he wasn't.
Friendships change.
Exactly.
But just because Spike made a new friend doesn't mean he stops being yours.
I know, but now I have to share him.
What happened to Miss Generosity?
I have to get used to. Right after I fix this mess I've made.
Yes, please do.
Good talk.
Wait! She's got 2 of them now?
Rarity? to him? And why are you even here?
I am here to apologize, actually. More to confess. And all of this stuff isn't for Spike. It's the evidence against me.
Evidence? For what?
For my acts of utter selfishness.
I don't understand.
These are the items I used to lure Spike into spending as much time with me as possible.
They are? You did?
Rarity, what are you doing?
You three need to have a conversation
I'm
here.
apologizing to Gabby so the two of you can renew your friendship, Spike. Now, please, even if you can't forgive me, you simply must forgive Spike. Oh, I actually owe you an apology too.
You apologize.
You're fresh out of Victrolas there.
I wish I didn't need to, but the more time you two spent together, the more I missed my time with Spike, and the more I used every means at my disposal to get it back. I am truly sorry.
You really miss spending time with me?
Oh, of course.
I have to say, after not hanging out with you, I understand why. You're kind of awesome. And I know what it's like to miss that now, too.
So, do you think maybe we could start hanging out again?
Absolutely.
All three of
I
you.
don't suppose you'd like some company on your rounds right now.
Aww. I saw that little
I
blush.
can't tell you how pleased I am that the two of you have
They're gone.
reconciled. I suppose Twilight is right. Friendships do change.
Oops.
Of course, Spike and I will always be friends, and I can get used to sharing him. Oh,
Sorry, I just didn't want to drop another one and wake the bats.
I wondered if C was going to show up.
Catching the gems is what the basket is for.
Wow, you two need to be a lot quieter.
There he is.
Spike! How wonderful to see you!
Yeah, Gabby and I had a great day, but I'll always still want my Rarity time.
Oh, so that's how it works.
Oh man, that. They finally did it. After 9 seasons, they finally did this episode. Stay right tuned. I'll be back with my thoughts on this. Stay right tuned. Stay right tuned. Wow, my brain must have really been broken at the end of watching this episode because I don't even remember saying that. When I got there editing, I was like, wait, what did I just say? I guess I somehow crisscrossed, stay tuned and stay right there, and it just came out weird, and I don't know, my mind was all over the place. But enough about my incoherent babbling. Let's talk about the episode. So it finally happened. I finally got the Rarity/Spike episode that I've been waiting for years. I honestly kind of just given up hope that it was ever even going to happen. I don't think I even had it on a wish list anymore. I just the running gag is there, and it's going to be there forever, so whatever. But no, here we are. Rarity's poor treatment of Spike has finally been addressed. But it did play out differently than I had long predicted that it would. I thought that eventually Spike would get the courage to finally confront Rarity about his feelings, and Rarity would just permanently friend zone him, and that would crush Spike and leave him heartbroken. And that's been in the back of my mind for a long time, and it just kind of made me a little peeved for a long time because of the fear of that happening. And just Spike deserves way better than that. I didn't want to see him get hurt like that. But fortunately, the writers took a completely different approach to this problem. Instead of Spike going after Rarity, he's growing up and moving on his own, and now it's Rarity that's realizing how much he took him for granted and trying hard to win him back. Kind of really the opposite direction that I thought this would go. Now, one of my thoughts was that this episode should have happened a few seasons ago, but after further reflection, I realized that it actually fits well here because it's been going on for so long. Rarity's gotten so used to Spike accommodating her for all this time that she's completely lost sight of how she's been taking advantage of him. So when he suddenly doesn't want to help her because he has all these other things going on, that hit Rarity like, you know, just completely out of left field and leaving her stunned. Now, as you all well know, Rarity hasn't exactly been my favorite character, at least in the earlier seasons. Her high society lifestyle and somewhat snobbish attitude just really rubbed me the wrong way on several occasions, and her acts of generosity didn't always feel like they were exactly the most, truly genuine. My opinion of her changed quite a bit, however, starting with the gift of the Mod Pie in Season 6, which I've mentioned several times in my commentaries, where she completely dropped everything that she had going on with trying to find a new storefront for her new boutique and stuff, and focused on helping Pinky try to find the perfect gift for Maud. That was truly like a self-sacrifice type situation, and it really impressed me for her. You know, also I began to notice other changes in Rarity, where she really is kind of dialed back the snobbish attitude over time, and has become much more willing to participate in things like wilderness adventures and other stuff where she potentially get dirty, which is a major shift from where she started out at the beginning of this series, where the very idea of having to get dirty was just, you know, like, that's not even an option. You know, and there's several more cases in recent seasons here where, you know, she's impressed me more and more, but I don't really need to spend time going over all of those, incidents. The point is, Rarity, from my point of view, has truly now embraced the element of generosity. So imagine my frustration when I saw her acting the way that she did in this episode. That she really kind of completely went against the grain of her usual generosity. Now, before some of you out there start harping on me for hating on Rarity, even though I just got done saying how much she's impressed me with how she's grown over the course of the series, let me just make one thing perfectly clear. I have no reason whatsoever to think that Rarity doesn't care about Spike, or that she's ever had any kind of malicious intent in how she's used him as her personal servant. Rarity has proven on multiple different occasions that she would be horrified if any harm actually came to Spike in any way. And it's quite clear to me that both of them do care very deeply for each other, at least as friends. It's also quite clear to me that this was just never really going to go anywhere in terms of developing into a truly romantic type of relationship, and that's why I feared that Spike would eventually get hurt if he tried to keep pursuing that. What I think would happen here is that way back in the beginning, Rarity allowed Spike to help her out with her errands because he volunteered, and she was either oblivious to the crush that he had on her, or at least was just allowing it to play out, thinking it was just going to be a phase or something, and would eventually run its course. But it wasn't just a phase, and he kept crushing on her and helping her, and over time she stopped thinking about it and just began taking his assistance for granted. Now, I think they both eventually reached a point here, or at least Spike did, where, you know, even though they care deeply for each other as friends, you know, Spike just kind of kept helping out Rarity because she's his friend, not necessarily because he thought there was any honest chance of something more. But again, that still does not excuse the fact that Rarity has taken him for granted all this time. Rarity should have cared enough about Spike to make sure that he didn't at any point feel like he was being taken advantage of, and she most certainly shouldn't have reached a point where she can't even comprehend the very idea that he might have other interests and other things going on that take precedence over helping her with her errands. That said, I also have to point out that Rarity is not completely to blame in this. Spike himself has grown up quite a bit in many ways, and I certainly think that he's mature enough that he's capable of standing up for himself, which he actually did kind of do a bit here by pushing back against Rarity's request for his help in the beginning of the episode. But despite being capable of this, he has allowed himself to keep helping Rarity for so long, for probably a laundry list of different reasons, so some of the responsibility does fall on him. He's kind of enabled her to be this way, in a way. I'd also throw a bit of blame in Twilight's direction for not making sure that Rarity wasn't taking advantage of Spike's affection for her. I mean, she is kind of his parental guardian too, so she should be on the lookout for him and things like this. But then again, Twilight herself has kind of taken Spike for granted on many occasions as well. So, again, not to say that, you know, she doesn't care for him deeply and stuff, but they all have their moments and little blind spots there. So, yeah, overall, plenty of blame to go around. It's not really the point. In the end, Spike didn't actually end up getting hurt by Rarity in the way that I had imagined he would, so I'm very happy about that. But Rarity did manage to end up hurting Spike in a different way here. Enter Gabby the Griffin, who has secretly been pen pals with Spike ever since The Fault in Our Cutie Marks way back in Season 6. Mad props to the writers for that awesome bit of continuity and backstory. You know, while the connection between these two really felt like it came out of left field, the explanation around it, to me at least, made perfect sense, as did the realization of how much the two actually have in common with each other. So this connection that they had didn't really feel forced at all, again, to me. Just to point out, even though it wasn't specifically mentioned, another thing that they have in common is that they can both fly. And we saw multiple times here where Spike and Gabby flew away together, leaving Rarity behind on the ground. So, you know, I get the feeling Spike's really enjoying having a flying buddy around town here, too. And, you know, even though we didn't see it, the build-up for the relationship even makes sense, where at first it was just them being pen pals, but then with Gallus at the school, and Grandpa Gruff constantly checking up on him by way of Gabby, now she's frequently hanging around Ponyville. So the two of them are getting to spend lots of time together now, and enjoying every minute of it. Now, if they were just friends, that would have been plenty, but given what we saw, I'm really thinking there's a lot more to this than just being good friends. The way Gabby fed Spike that cherry from the milkshake, and the way that he blushed in front of her near the end there, yeah, I think Spike has a new special some creature, and I approve. Now, of course, I don't want him to just rush into anything, but this technically isn't rushing, because, as it was explained, he's been growing his relationship with Gabby for quite some time now, and even though it's new to us, it feels pretty natural to me, and I'm very happy that he's finally found somebody that he's able to make such a special connection with. And if you think about it, this is like one of the most significant friendships that Spike has ever made. Sure, he's been friends with the main six and other ponies for a long time, but that's kind of more almost of a family connection for the most part. And, you know, of course, you got Big Mac and Discord, you know, they're gaming buddies, but, you know, this is a little different than those types of situations. You know, Spike has struggled with his identity as a dragon many different times, making it clear that no matter how much the others care about him, he still occasionally, or, you know, even how much he feels at home here, he still occasionally feels out of place living amongst the ponies. Then Gabby comes along, and he finds someone who also comes from a different cultural background, like him, and enjoys many of the same things as he does. You know, that's... I actually thought that Smolder would be more of a good fit for him, since she's also a dragon, but... You know, again, they seem to be kind of, you know, buddies and stuff there too, but it wasn't really anything more than that. But Gabby, I don't know, it works somehow. I love it. You know, and, you know, enjoying a lot of the same things that he does, that's certainly a lot more than can be said for Rarity. And again, yes, Rarity cares about Spike, but to what extent? Unless I'm forgetting something, which I could be, Rarity has never been one to really show very much interest in Spike's activities. And until now, she's never offered to take him on any special trips, or show him much interest in his comic book characters, or learn how to play the games that he likes, you know, all the nerdy stuff that he's into. You know, now, sure, if she thinks that he's in danger, like in Gauntlet of Fire, she'll go to great lengths to be there for him. But afterward, it's kind of just right back to dragging him along on all of her errands. You know, what's sad is that I actually saw some signs here that Rarity might have actually enjoyed the time that she spent doing these things with Spike. She seemed really into that O&O game, you know, role-playing as Princess Schmerity, the character that Spike himself had created in that game. And, you know, not only that, she went all out on that Maniac cosplay, even willingly wearing green hair. Which, again, a few seasons ago, I'd be like, there's no way I'm wearing green. Now, how much of that was actually her enjoying herself, and how much of it was her just doing what she felt was necessary to win back his affection is up for debate. But I think it's safe to say that she could have had a lot more fun times with Spike over these years if she had just honestly cared enough to actually try. Instead, whether it was conscious or not, she kept selfishly using Spike, and only realized after he wasn't there at her beck and call anymore just how much he's done for her all these years. And now, because Rarity has become so accustomed to having Spike mostly all to herself, at least whenever he wasn't busy helping Twilight, of course, you know, now she finds herself getting extremely jealous and selfishly trying all manner of bribery to try and buy back Spike's affection for her. And even more than bribery, she flat out manipulated him by taking advantage of his trust in her. Specifically, you know, when she suggested that he back out on plans for Gabby for a third day in a row in order to sleep in, I'm pretty sure that she already had the idea in mind that she would be coming back the next day with that game, and was preemptively making sure that he would be available and not have to find a way to get him away from Gabby again. You know, knowing, and she knew that he probably wouldn't have had any reason to question her motives behind the suggestion to take the day off. So, you know, again, taking advantage of his trust in her. Again, whether or not that was actually her intent is up for debate, but it was getting to the point where it felt like it honestly was going that way. And she even admitted later it's like she did everything that she possibly could. So, now, I do have to say here that as much as I found this behavior incredibly frustrating, I do also empathize with Rarity a bit, because I know all too well what it's like to suddenly get slapped in the face with the realization of a long-standing personal flaw that one has. You know, no matter how much we try to always act on certain principles, we all mess up on occasions, and we are all susceptible to becoming blind to certain flaws like this. And, you know, we can become quite defensive when we're finally confronted with them, which obviously Rarity was here as well. And just to be clear, there really is no excuse for Rarity's selfish behavior at all, especially since she's supposed to represent the element of generosity. But again, these bad habits of hers go all the way back to Season 1, and, you know, really she'd become blinded to them. So, similar to Twilight in A Trivial Pursuit, I know it's an unpopular comparison, but there it is, the only way this flaw was going to be addressed for Rarity was for her to mess up so badly that she was forced to finally confront and deal with it. And mess up badly she did. Her efforts backfired spectacularly. Sure, she managed to get Spike to back out on plans with Gabby to do things with her, but that ended up creating a rift between him and Gabby, such that even though he went back to helping Rarity again, he was completely miserable, and not at all the cheerful and willing assistant that she was used to. You know, again, I think this thing with Gabby is a bit more than just a friendship, because he honestly looked like he had lost the love of his life, and had no more will to even continue existing at that point. You know, even Twilight, who in the past has been somewhat oblivious to a lot of Spike's moods, could easily see that something was very wrong. And Rarity knew it too, but was stubbornly refusing to admit that she had messed up. You know, in fact, I kind of got the feeling that while she subconsciously knew that what she'd done here was wrong, because she was acting rather guilty when talking to Twilight about it, but until she actually confessed everything out loud, she didn't really fully consciously put all the pieces together and realize her mistake. Once she finally did that, the light bulb turned on, and she felt absolutely terrible and proceeded to try to find a way to make things right in her wonderfully dramatic fashion. Yes, Rarity's apology dramatizations were thoroughly over the top, but I honestly wouldn't expect any less from her at this point. And I truly felt that her apology to Spike, when she actually got to it, was genuine and complete. You know, I think this is a big wake-up call for her, and, you know, as she now realizes that just how much of a burden she's been, while, you know, placing... She now realizes just how much of a burden she's been placing on others who assist her with her shopping and other tasks, and how prone she is to using her charm to manipulate others to get her way. You know, I think she can see now just how unbecoming and selfish that kind of behavior actually is. And most importantly, she saw how badly she had hurt Spike by damaging his relationship with Gabby. And as I mentioned, she never at any point wanted to see Spike hurt by anyone, much less herself. Sadly, we're pretty much out of time to see if Rarity actually now lives out this lesson, but even if we don't see it, her turnaround here was enough for me to be convinced that she'll probably never make this same mistake again, and my respect for Rarity has increased yet again, because she finally address the number one biggest flaw that I still saw for her character. Now, I do have to address some things with Spike too, because, you know, as I said before, he isn't exactly completely innocent in all this. On one hand, I was happy to see Spike not get angry with Rarity when he had every right to after she messed things up between him and Gabby. At the same time, I was also frustrated that he didn't stand up to Rarity at all and just went back to helping her after what she had done. But then again, it's not exactly that clear-cut black and white. Spike himself was the one who made the choice, not once, not twice, but 3 times, to back out on his promises to Gabby to spend time with Rarity. So really, I think the reason why he didn't get mad at Rarity was because he knew that he himself had made some bad choices, and he was probably too focused on his own failures to place any of the blame on Rarity. You know, the first one wasn't too big of a deal, of course, and, you know, of course somebody like Gabby wouldn't mind Spike backing out of their plans, you know, for just a one-time thing like that. You know, there should always be allowances for occasional sudden changes in plans and friendships and stuff. The second time kind of hurt, though, especially since it was literally like the day after the first one, like 2 in a row, which began creating a suspicious pattern. You know, it's a good thing that Pinky wasn't around to complain about promises being broken here. But then the third time really blew up because he told Gabby he was too exhausted to go out and do anything, and then she shows up with some soup to help him get his energy back. Very thoughtful as a friend, of course. And she finds him playing games with Rarity, essentially catching him in a lie. Like, he said he was too tired to do anything, but here he is. So, in a nutshell, Rarity was tempting Spike into spending more time with her at the expense of Gabby, and Spike allowed himself to succumb to that temptation. You know, it's not cool for Rarity to have done that, but Spike could have said no, and he didn't. You know, and so, I mean, he was actually kind of dealing with some selfishness of his own there, you know, because he was prioritizing his personal hobbies over the time he had promised with Gabby. And it's easy to see why he gave in so easily, too, because he's probably dreamed of a day when his, you know, his first crush, Rarity, would fully indulge on so many of his own personal interests. But that's still no excuse for how he treated Gabby, of course. You know, and I thought at the end there maybe the 3 of them all could have spent some time together, you know, kind of like how, you know, Rarity, Maude, and Pinky were spending time together in Manhattan, but, you know, instead they went their separate ways, and I think that honestly kind of worked out for the best here. You know, Spike needed some time to repair his relationship with Gabby, and, you know, then he still showed up to share some of his time with Rarity at the end, too, which I think was a really mature thing for him to do, especially after how she had treated him. You know, just like Rarity needs to be willing to share Spike with others, Spike himself needs to be willing to spend time with all of his friends and not abandon old friends just because a new one comes along, even if the new friend is a bit more than just a friend. And as for Gabby, I didn't find any fault with her at all in any of this. I was just really happy to see her there and getting screen time again. When I first saw her, I thought it was just going to be like another cameo, and then all of a sudden she's talking, like, yes! You know, it sounds like things are still kind of rough for her out there in Griffinstone, because apparently there's not really much cultural change happening there yet. You know, that said, I'm very curious about this news that Grandpa Gruff is having her keep an eye on how Gallus is doing at the school. You know, it seems he really does care about what's going on with Gallus, even though he refuses to admit that in any kind of public capacity. You know, of all the creature nations represented at the School of Friendship, the dragons and the griffins were the 2 species that are culturally the most at odds, at least presently, with the basic tenets of friendship. And while we've seen a recent shift in culture with the dragons earlier this season in Sweet and Smoky, we have yet to see anything like that happen with the griffins. I mean, it's been a long time since we've even seen Griffinstone. You know, but with this new revelation, I'm starting to wonder if the seeds that have been planted by Gabby, Gallus, and, you know, perhaps even Gilda from back in Season 5 are starting to finally grow there. You know, obviously not very much time is left before the finale now, but if all these nations are going to come together as allies, I can't help but think there's going to be some kind of a catalyst for change in the Griffin culture at some point here. You know, or maybe I'm way off base on this, and the finale will be completely different than what I'm expecting. Only time will tell, but that time will be soon enough, as there's only a few episodes left before the big finale. So just have to see how this all plays out. Well, that's all I got on this one, everyone. Thanks for watching. This is definitely a fun, awesome episode. Definitely looking forward to the next one. Till then, see you later.